When thinking about the French Revolution, many consider there to be multiple factors, including political, social, economic, and religious. While much more research has been devoted to the political, social, and economic factors, it is also important to understand what impact religion had on the French Revolution, and just how far back its influence went. Could the Protestant Reformation have still played a role in the French Revolution over 200 years later? Evidence suggests that the Protestant Reformation not only did influence the French Revolution, but it actually had a very important impact. The Protestant Reformation in the 1500s immediately threatened a strongly Catholic France, which led to the French Wars of Religion. Eventually, Catholicism won out, but the Edict of Nantes was established allowing Protestants a measure of religious freedom. However, following the Peace of Westphalia, the edict was revoked, and over 200,000 Protestants were deported or killed between 1572 and 1750. Protestantism was restored again in 1787 with the Edict of Toleration, and the Revolution, interestingly, started just a short time later. While allowing Protestants back in France might not have been what directly caused the Revolution, historical evidence suggests that it had an important effect.
Most Protestants initially supported the Revolution because it offered them a chance at more freedoms. The Edict of Toleration provided them with additional rights, but it was the Declaration of Rights of Man that truly gave them freedom from French Catholic rule.
Other sources written at the time suggested an even more intentional and targeted Protestant influence. A pamphlet from 1791 suggested that Protestants were recruiting other groups and leading a conspiracy to challenge the Catholic Church in France.
The beginning of the Revolution was characterized by the exclusive privileges of the Catholic Church being taken away. The civil constitution of the clergy challenged Catholic doctrine and confiscated church lands, some of which were even given to the Protestants.
Traditionally, many have focused on societal class conflict in their analysis of the Revolution, while ignoring potential religious influences.
The idea that the French Revolution was based on religion was false, due to historical evidence suggesting that it is a political revolution.
While those who advocate that the French Revolution was primarily political in nature can point to the political institutions and laws that were challenged and the new political theories that were proposed by the Revolution, this explanation does not paint the whole picture. Catholicism was so entrenched in French history and society that loyalty to the crown became conflated with loyalty to the church. For Protestants, an uprising against the political system of France was a necessary continuation of the uprising against Catholic power in France. Even Catholics at the time recognized the influence of Protestant ideas in the Revolution. A pamphlet written in 1792 complained that revolutionary ideas were turning the French people into Protestants.
The author believed that the civil constitution of clergy was an action against the Catholic Church that reeked of Luther and Calvin.
A man named Nicolas Sorda, the probable author of this pamphlet, extended this argument in another writing in 1797, and other writers began to point out the relationship between Protestant ideas and the Revolution as well. In the later 1900s, many began to look back on the Revolution and came to believe that it was also inspired by religious ideas instead of solely political ones.
Many historians, such as de Tocqueville, Guizot, and Blanc, advocated the French Revolution as being religious or even exclusively Protestant. An example of individualism that combated both religious and political absolute rule.
The Reformation served as a catalyst to question and challenge the existing establishment and to advance reform. And the French Revolution took the movement and advanced it further into economic, cultural, and political arenas as well.
In 1802, in an essay contest about the effects of the Reformation, a man named Charles de Villers recognized this and compared the Reformation to the Revolution. Among the Anabaptists one finds the same pretensions to equality and absolute liberty that caused all the excess of Jacobin France, he said.
Villers was very insightful in recognizing the influence of Martin Luther and the Reformation on the French Revolution occurring in real time around him. To Villers, the Reformation had not only been a religious movement, but served as an upheaval of political and intellectual society as well.
Villers believed that the French Revolution acted as the political extension of the Reformation and the Enlightenment.
Like Montesquieu and others, Villers recognized Protestantism's effect on the encouragement of democratic principles in governments.
The economic reforms instituted by Napoleon and other countries in the 1800s further imply the impact of Protestant ideas on the Revolution. When French soldiers invaded other countries, They removed the old regimes in place and instituted new, revolution-inspired political and economic systems. Napoleon's economic institutions, characterized by a more free market, capitalistic approach, resulted in rapid economic growth in these places. There are those who believe that these capitalistic ideas naturally emerged from other secular institutional theories of the Revolution, and therefore had nothing to do with Protestantism, or the effects of the Reformation.
These countries improved economically drastically, and there are several studies done that Protestant ideas weren't actually the reason for it.
However, in the 1900s, a man named Max Weber proposed that much of Europe's development and success during that time were due to similar capitalistic economic ideas that he believed resulted from Protestantism.
Capitalism is an economic concept that was encouraged by Protestant ideals. Two of the first strong Protestant countries in Europe following the Reformation, England and the Netherlands, just happened to be the two of the strongest economic countries of that time as well. The fact that these capitalist ideas were then brought to other countries by Napoleon and the French as a result of their revolution is further evidence that it was initially influenced by Protestant ideas.
If capitalism is a Protestant-inspired invention like Weber suggests, then a revolution that resulted in a society adopting a capitalist economic system must have been inspired by Protestantism. Arguments have also been made that the Protestant Reformation did not, in fact, promote the ideas of equality and freedom that were characteristic of the French Revolution.
The Reformation did not secure, or rather destroyed religious freedom, and did not promote free government. Instead of society becoming more democratic and free, the political leaders used the Protestant churches to actually increase their authoritative power.
However, it is evident, especially considering the history of France during the Protestant Reformation, that the French Revolution's alignment with the Catholic Church resulted in it becoming an absolutist government, whereas it was the Protestant influence in France that sought to free the people from despotism. In fact, the Protestant Reformation is regarded as one of the first successful challenges to an influential institution, and many describe the Protestant Reformation as inspiring all revolutions that came after it. Not only did the Protestant Reformation advocate different theological ideas, but new political ideas as well, as they criticized absolutist rule and promoted concepts like freedom and democracy.
Protestant ideas detached man's mind from dogma, developed critical and rational thinking. The history of the Protestant Reformation was therefore the history of the rise of liberty, in religious and political terms.
A pamphlet written in 1688 described Protestant behavior during the Reformation.
The pamphlet complained that Protestants overthrew the order of discipline in the pursuit of religious independence under the specious, flattering name of liberty, much like the French Revolution.
The true political effects of the Protestant Reformation were seen initially in some of the countries that first adopted Protestantism over Catholicism.
The success of the Orange Revolution and the influence of Protestantism in England is one of the main reasons why Catholicism was able to be thwarted early, and the English Civil War did not become England's own reign of terror. Had the Huguenots' resistance in France not been crushed, France's revolution towards a democratic government might have been earlier, shorter, and more peaceful.
Although it took place 200 years before, the Protestant Reformation had a profound impact on the French Revolution. Catholic and Protestant tensions in France resulting from the Reformation helped initiate the Revolution, and the ideas of democracy, liberty, and capitalism that resulted from it were largely influenced by Protestantism. Before the Revolution, France was a Catholic-dominated society, but even 25 years after the Revolution started, Catholics no longer completely defined the nation or the community, while Protestants were able to be in France and have religious freedom.